Hey, SHALAM WA QAM YASHARAHLA. Today we're going to read the book of Judith, chapters 15 and 16. This is the book of Judith, chapter 15. And when they that were in the tents heard, they were astonished at the thing that was done, and fear and trembling fell upon them, so that there was no man that durst abide in the sight of his neighbor, but rushing out altogether, they fled into every way of the plain and of the hill country. They also that had camped in the mountains round about Bethulia fled away. Then the children of Israel, every one that was a warrior among them, rushed out upon them. Then sent Ozias to Bedamastim, and to Bebai, and Kobai, and Kola, and to all the coast of Israel, such as should tell the things that were done, and that all should rush forth upon their enemies to destroy them. Now when the children of Israel heard it, they all fell upon them with one consent, and slew them unto Kobai. Likewise also they that came from Jerusalem, and from all the hill country, for men had told them what things were done in the camp of their enemies. And they that were in Galaad and in Galilee chased them with a great slaughter, until they were past Damascus and the borders thereof. And the residue that dwelt at Bethulia fell upon the camp of Assur, and spoiled them, and were greatly enriched. And the children of Israel that returned from the slaughter had that which remained, and the villages and the cities that were in the mountains and in the plain gat many spoils, for the multitude was very great. Then Joachim the high priest and the ancients of the children of Israel that dwelt in Jerusalem came to behold the good things that Yahweh had shewed to Israel, and to see Judith, and to salute her. And when they came unto her, they blessed her with one accord, and said unto her, Thou art the exaltation of Jerusalem, thou art the great glory of Israel, thou art the great rejoicing of our nation. Thou hast done all these things by thine hand, thou hast done much good to Israel, and Yahweh is pleased therewith. Blessed be thou of the Almighty Lord forevermore. And all the people said, So be it. And the people spoiled the camp the space of 30 days, and they gave unto Judith Holofernes his tent, and all his plate, and beds, and vessels, and all his stuff, and she took it, and laid it on her mule, and made ready her carts, and laid them thereon. Then all the women of Israel ran together to see her, and blessed her, and made a dance among them for her. And she took branches in her hand, and gave also to the women that were with her. And they put a garland of olive upon her, and her maid that was with her. And she went before all the people in the dance, leading all the women. And all the men of Israel followed in their armor, with garlands, and with songs in their mouths. This is the book of Judith, chapter 16. Then Judith began to sing this thanksgiving in all Israel, and all the people sang after her this song of praise. And Judith said, Begin unto my power with timbrels, sing unto my Lord with cymbals, tune unto him a new psalm, exalt him and call upon his name. For Yahweh breaketh the battles, for among the camps in the midst of the people he hath delivered me out of the hands of them that persecuted me. Assur came out of the mountains from the north. He came with 10,000s of his army, the multitude whereof stopped the torrents, and their horsemen have covered the hills. He bragged that he would burn up my borders and kill my young men with the sword, and dash the sucking children against the ground, and make mine infants as a prey, and my virgins as a spoil. But the Almighty Lord hath disappointed them by the hand of a woman. For the mighty one did not fall by the young men, neither did the sons of the Titans smite him, nor high giants set upon him. But Judith, the daughter of Merari, weakened him with the beauty of her countenance. For she put off the garment of her widowhood for the exaltation of those that were oppressed in Israel, and anointed her face with ointment, and bound her hair in a tire, and took a linen garment to deceive him. Her sandals ravished his eyes, her beauty took his mind prisoner, and a falchion passed through his neck. The Persians quaked at her boldness, and the Medes were daunted at her hardiness. Then my afflicted shouted for joy, and my weak ones cried aloud, but they were astonished. These lifted up their voices, but they were overthrown. The sons of the damsels have pierced them through, and wounded them as fugitives' children. They perished by the battle of the Lord. I will sing unto the Lord a new song. O Lord, thou art great and glorious, wonderful in strength and invincible. Let all creatures serve thee, for thou spakest, and they were made. Thou didst send forth thy spirit, and it created them, and there is none that can resist thy voice. For the mountains shall be moved from their foundations with the waters. The rocks shall melt as wax at thy presence. Yet thou art merciful to them that fear thee. For all sacrifice is too little for a sweet savor unto thee, and all the fat is not sufficient for thy burnt offering. But he that feareth the Lord is great at all times. Woe to the nations that rise up against my kindred! The Lord Almighty will take vengeance of them in the day of judgment, in putting fire and worms in their flesh, and they shall feel them and weep forever. Now as soon as they entered into Jerusalem, they worshipped the Lord, and as soon as the people were purified, they offered their burnt offerings, and their free offerings, and their gifts. Judith also dedicated all the stuff of Holofernes, which the people had given her, and gave the canopy which she had taken out of his bedchamber for a gift unto the Lord. So the people continued feasting in Jerusalem before the sanctuary for the space of 3 months, and Judith remained with them. After this time, everyone returned to his own inheritance, and Judith went to Bethulia and remained in her own possession, and was in her time honorable in all the country. And many desired her, but none knew her all the days of her life. After that, Manasseh, her husband, was dead, and was gathered to his people. But she increased more and more in honor, and waxed old in her husband's house, being 105 years old, and made her maid free, so she died in Bethulia. And they buried her in the cave of her husband Manasseh. And the house of Israel lamented her 7 days, and before she died, she did distribute her goods to all them that were nearest of kindred to Manasseh her husband, and to them that were the nearest of her kindred. And there was none that made the children of Israel any more afraid in the days of Judith, nor a long time after her death. That's the book of Judith, chapters 15 and 16. Yahweh Shem El Shai Barak Atham, and as always, double shalom.